This is talking specifically about a multi-million dollar like crazy kaboom mistake.
I
Here,
think it's
here you go.
appropriate to begin this video with a thank you to all the staff and researchers at the Kamiokande Observatory. Not only were they kind enough to allow me to use some of their footage, but as we'll see, they've achieved incredible things over the past few decades and truly deserve recognition.
It's okay. If I save it for another stream, I don't know when I'll be able to do it. So we'll do it. We'll rip it out really quick. It'll be fine. A fairy tale failure.
A couple of videos back, I briefly mentioned the Cascade failure at the Super Kamiokande facility in Japan.
Look at these.
And then I didn't.
This is super pure water, and each one of these is a super expensive photomultiplier tube. I'll tell you what a photomultiplier tube is later. I think he explains it.
Elaborate further. Unsurprisingly, I got a lot of requests for a follow-up video. Now, this isn't a topic that needs one of my typical hour-long videos with flashy graphics and tailored visualizations. So, while I recover from my previous video,
Whoops.
I thought it'd be nice to do a shorter and simpler video on this incident. I got a lot of requests for a follow-up video. Now, this isn't a topic that needs one of my typical hour-long videos with flashy graphics and tailored visualizations.
It is very trippy, yeah.
So, while I recover from the marathon that was my previous video, I thought it'd be nice to do a shorter and simpler video on this incident. Consider it a New Year's special, even though I'm probably going to release it about a week after New Year's Day.
Hey, it's almost New Year's.
The failure at the Super Kamiokande is almost like an engineering disaster from a fairy tale. No one was hurt, no one went to jail. It's not well known in the West, so it almost sounds like a made-up cautionary tale. It did cost some taxpayer money,
a lot of
I imagine
money,
grants were cancelled and researchers were delayed getting PhDs and the like. On the off chance that any of those researchers are listening, I'm sorry for saying your disaster was a fairy tale. But in the end, the facility was upgraded and not only functions to this day, but is currently being rebuilt into an even larger and more capable facility. It's quite difficult to see how it could have been predicted without the gift of hindsight, so it serves as an excellent case study for engineers today. Yet, it's probably the most physically spectacular catastrophic failure I can name off the top of my head.
It is still the most
gather round
physically
and take
catastrophic
heed,
failure that I know.
Because today, we're going to visit the
pretty
test chamber and learn all about Cascade failures.
Particle physics.
The Super Kamiokande is a neutrino detector. As we shall see, it was, and still is, a truly groundbreaking facility.
The reason why neutrino detectors are so complex and so big and so deep underground is it's really freaking hard to detect neutrinos. They don't interact with anything and they pass through everything. And if you're trying to detect them, it's really easy to get noise from other sources. So you have to isolate literally everything else out.
However, I barely know what a neutrino is. When we put all the various domains of science and engineering onto a spectrum of how much does Alex know about this field,
neutrinos are
particle physics appears right at the I know basically nothing end. So, any particle physicists watching, please just put your fingers in your ears for the next couple of minutes.
I'm listening. I took one particle physics class, okay? Maybe two.
Study elementary particles very briefly during A-level physics. That's when I was about 17 years old. And that's about all I've ever covered on the topic. I remember these things.
Ooh, the Feynman diagrams.
I remember a thing called the Standard Model, which lists all the fundamental particles. Since I'm releasing this as a kind of special episode, let's have a little fun. Let's see how much of it I can remember from memory.
Oh.
So, there's my Alex Hall.
You know, not bad. Quirks are done right. The Higgs boson was in big news. Yes. Though it's unstable and we don't see muons, electrons, and neutrinos. Neutrinos have color? I don't remember. Do they have color?
Standard model from memory based off a couple of physics lessons from...
He didn't separate these into fermions and bosons. Clearly not a particle physicist.
Almost 20 years ago, and occasionally seeing it mentioned on PBS Spacetime. So, at this point in writing the script, I actually went off and watched this brilliant video which explains the Standard Model, and here's how it actually looks. Cool, I guess I got some of it right. Mostly wrong, but
Oh,
anyway.
see? The fermion boson
Right.
split.
Let's talk
There
about
we go.
neutrinos.
Mhm.
Neutrinos are...
Don't worry, you don't need to know particle physics for this. I'm consoling the viewers. You don't need to know that much particle physics. It'll be all explained, I'm pretty sure. And if not, I'll explain it.
barely detectable in our universe. That is
Mhm.
because they only interact with the gravitational and weak nuclear forces. What is the weak nuclear force? I don't really know, but it doesn't matter for the purpose of this video.
Neither do
Famously, this
I.
means trillions upon trillions of them pass straight through the Earth
Are we gonna get quiz on this later? No, you'll be fine. I promise. It'll be okay.
every second without even slowing down. But very, very, very occasionally, they'll interact with a particle in the Earth. If a neutrino just happens to pass close enough to an electron, it can transfer some of its energy via the weak force and accelerate that electron to a speed faster than the speed of light in whatever medium is present.
Okay. Don't think too hard about the faster than speed of light thing. Okay, just know that a neutrino can hit an electron and make the electron move a little bit faster than it's supposed to go.
Side note, that does not make anything go faster than the speed of light in a vacuum. That is impossible. When that happens, the electron emits a minuscule flash of light. This is called...
So the electron gets hit, gets a little bit of extra energy, and then it gets a little bit of light radiation. So it'll emit a photon when it gets hit with a neutrino. Just a single tiny photon. What's a neutrino? Don't worry about it too much, but if you never heard of it, just consider it a special particle that doesn't interact with anything except with gravity and this weak force where you like hit something. And so if you hit a neutrino hits the electron, it can make the electron glow just a little bit. It's very faint, tiny glow.
This is called Cherenkov radiation and is the same effect that causes the
Cherenkov
blue
radiation.
glow seen in certain
Woo.
circumstances around a nuclear reactor.
Woo.
And that is how you detect a neutrino. And more importantly, detecting that tiny flash is an engineering problem.
So to prove, right, if you're following the video, to prove that a neutrino exists or to know how many neutrinos are actually out there, what you can do is you can get a bunch of electrons and then measure to see if they glow when a neutrino passes them. If you have a really good camera or a really good detector, you can see when that electron glows, you'll know it got hit by a neutrino. And that's why it's built super deep underground without any other things to interact with it, so that you can have very, very sensitive photodetectors to detect the photons. You know, that's the thing. This is a lot of education. Sorry, this one is very technical. Sorry, it's not as fun as the Earth ground one. This is like we're literally going to particle physics. We just went from intro high school physics to like graduate level particle physics. So if you don't get it, it's fine. It's fine. Just follow along. You'll be okay. You're just here for the vibe.
Effect that causes the blue glow seen in certain circumstances around a nuclear reactor. And that is how you detect a neutrino. And more importantly, detecting that tiny flash is an engineering problem. So I can confidently re-enter the discussion again. Back in the 1970s...
To detect that tiny flash of light, nearly impossible. Super hard to do. They're called single photon detectors. And there's a whole class of experimental physics that focuses on detecting a single photon. Very difficult to do. Many people have gotten their PhDs in that field alone. Crazy, right? Also, welcome in, Connor. Hello.
A team at the University of Tokyo came up with a pretty audacious plan. Number 1, fill a huge tank with 50,000 tons of extremely pure water. Number 2.
Step 1, get the pure molecular form of H2O and fill it up underground.
2, surround it with unimaginably sensitive detectors that can detect that tiny flash of light on the rare occasion a neutrino triggers an event in the tank.
Yep.
Now, there were 2 major problems that needed solving to make this a reality. Problem 1, just building a tank at the surface would lead to an endless supply of false detections. The problem is cosmic rays. These hit our upper atmosphere continually. We're shielded from them by the atmosphere, but that doesn't mean nothing makes it to the ground. Relevant to the overall theme of this video, cosmic rays striking particles in the upper atmosphere lead to cascade events, causing many different types of particles to rain down on the surface of Earth. Of the greatest concern are muons, which can penetrate some distance into the surface.
Yep.
These would also strike electrons in the tank and lead to false detection events.
So they have to build super deep underground.
Kamiokande is buried 1,100 meters below the surface, inside Mount Ikina.
Oh my god, they put it inside a mountain too. What? Holy shit, I want to go to Japan and tour this place. Oh my god. Do you think if we went, we could go, like if we go do a Japan tour, they'd let me in? I don't know. Maybe we come up with an excuse. Oh, that'd be so awesome.
To shield it from incoming particles.
They literally put a mountain on top of it as well.
I may not fully understand the genius of particle physics as a field, but I appreciate the engineering of the tools they use.
This is just crazy. Imagine like moving and building a concrete like entire well 1,000 feet underground inside a mountain. That would be a crazy project. Just to like say, hey, what's your job? What are you doing? You're just like, oh yeah, I'm just setting down concrete inside this mountain over here. Like that's what we're doing. It's 1,000 feet underground. Yeah, just casually. It's for some physics experiment.
This is serious stuff.
Yeah, I should send an email.
How do you detect a flash of light on the order of a single photon in a 50,000-ton tank of water?
Yeah.
And
look, they've Minecraft excavated this.
Detecting is not enough. We want multiple detections so we can determine the trajectory of the particle that caused it. Many viewers will already know the answer because the technology to do that has been around for decades.
I'll tell you.
Those who don't, the answer may be slightly surprising.
Photomultipliers. I love photomultipliers.
We use vacuum tubes. Photomultipliers, to be precise.
My beloved.
Now, photomultipliers are fascinating, in part because they're one of very few classes of vacuum tubes still in production and widespread use today.
Most vacuum tubes are no longer in use. I have a pair of Nixie tube, Soviet-era Nixie tubes on my desk. It's like my little clock. It was gifted to me a couple years ago, and I really enjoy it. They're ripped from a nuclear counter. I'll take a picture and show you sometime, Chad. But I really love vacuum tubes. I like the vibe of them. They're really cool. But yes, these are photomultiplier tubes. I'm really interested to see how they animate it.
No solid-state equivalent has yet been invented that can outperform a photomultiplier across all of its design specs. Let's see how they work. At the top of the tube is a photocathode. This is a plate of material that ejects electrons when struck by photons. For those paying attention, I just described the photoelectric effect. It's how photovoltaic solar panels work. Incoming photons knock electrons from the surface. In the case of a solar panel, that flow of electrons is an electric current.
I'll explain this after.
But in our case, we may only receive a single photon, which we wish to somehow detect. The single electron it knocked out of the plate needs somehow amplifying. So a charged electrode guides it to the first of a series of charged plates.
So you can already see where this is going. At the very top is a special material. This is where the sensor is happening. And if a photon hits it, it releases an electron. You don't have to worry about how, but it's through the photoelectric effect is the reverse of it anyway. And so the photon, some light beam gets detected, an electron comes off, and it hits this plate. And when that plate gets hit by an electron, 2 electrons come off, and it cascades into more and more electrons. And by the time it reaches to the bottom, there's so many electrons that you can actually register as a signal. Because normally no circuit can detect a single electron, but you can detect hundreds, if not thousands of electrons. So if you have a couple of these in series, you're just doubling the electrons every time. Boom, now you have a ton of electrons that you can actually detect. Here you can see it.
Big cascade that this video is actually about.
Yeah, look at that.
After the final plate.
That's why they're called photomultiplier tubes, because it's a tube that multiplies a photon into a very large effect.
The now millions of ejected electrons strike the anode and will register as a current pulse, therefore allowing us to detect a single photon which
Cool.
initiated the Cascade.
Those photo multiplier tubes are used in research everywhere. It's a very common thing. It's used in quantum computing. It's used in all sorts of particle physics research. It's even used in like some bio applications as well. Pretty cool.
Now, the photomultiplier tubes used at the Super Kamiokande are
Look
no
at these
normal
bad boys.
photomultipliers.
Look at
Prior
these.
to their construction, the largest photomultipliers available in the West were about 20 centimeters in diameter.
Each one of these, you see this little tiny photomultiplier tube, they made giant ones. Each one of these is a giant photomultiplier tube. Isn't that
About
cool?
20 centimeters
It's
in
a giant
diameter.
vacuum tube.
Those in the Super Kamiokande are a whopping 50 centimeters in diameter, and they are truly objects of beauty. I mean, just
I got okay. I too would pose with my giant vacuum tube. Is this a did they get a random is this a scientist or did they get a random model to pose with the vacuum tube and be like, look at my baby? This is, can you put 50 centimeters in freedom units? Sure. 50 centimeters in inches. It is 20 inches. It is 20 inches across, about.
just look at that thing. Manufactured by Hamamatsu.
Recap for the people who are lost, because I know some of you are. This is a giant detector. This detector can detect a single photon being released in the bath of water. So recap, what are we trying to do? We're trying to detect neutrinos, okay? We want to know if a neutrino has happened somewhere. And how do we do that? We have a giant vat of water, super pure water, and if a neutrino hits the water, an electron in the water, it'll make a glow. And we can detect that glow with these gigantic photo multiplier tubes. That's what's going on. So water and single photon detectors everywhere, literally all over the walls. And this image, this beautiful image.
I mean, just look at that thing. Manufactured by Hamamatsu, the model R3600 tube is not only extremely sensitive,
it's random. That's part of the research, is to detect if are neutrinos random, where are they coming from, how does space like shoot them out. They knew neutrinos existed at this point, but they wanted to know more about their behavior in the deep cosmos, which we don't know much of. It does look like a giant light bulb.
It has a collection area larger than any other tube on the market.
These line the interior walls of the tank, giving the Super Kamiokande its distinctive appearance.
This is a crazy shot. This is so cool. Imagine, and there's a guy suspended in the middle of this because he can't touch it. And then they're gonna fill this all with super pure H2O.
Most photos of the facility are taken under orange sodium vapor lamps. These are used during maintenance to avoid damaging those sensitive tubes. Also, note the little boat used during maintenance.
This is all super pure, purely molecular H2O, and they have a little plastic boat that goes around and they repair the tubes. Isn't that cute? Look at them on the little buoy. And do you have to get divers to dive underneath the water to repair it? How do they do that? I don't know.
There's something beautifully Japanese about that. Now these tubes,
if one guy falls over, it's over. Yeah. If he falls overboard, oh my goodness.
are rated to 8 atmospheres of external pressure.
Okay.
With a max possible water depth of 36 meters in the facility, that gives a safety margin of more than 2 for hydrostatic pressure. Hydrostatic. Static. Moving on. These tubes were first manufactured for the smaller Kamiokande experiment. And this was, as I've already mentioned, wildly successful, performing many neutrino detections and also detecting a supernova via neutrinos, earning a Nobel
I did not. That's a cool thing.
Prize in the process.
They got a Nobel Prize for detecting a supernova with the same setup in another facility. So yeah, neutrinos come from supernovas. I forgot. And you can detect them with this. That's cool.
Earning a Nobel Prize in the process. Super Kamiokande came online in 1996. And
this is so Japanese. I'm sorry. This is so Japan for them to have a little celebratory
Kamiokande
like
came online in 1996 and
okay.
contained
Literally inside the facility.
11,146 of these photo multiplier
Uh-huh.
tubes, each with a cost of $10,000. Now
I
that's
love
not
it
cheap
too.
in
Yeah.
real terms, but I can't help but feel $10,000 is a bit of a bargain for a custom blown 50 centimeter glass tube just like that.
Is this guy literally making it? The Japanese are so proud of their engineering here. I mean, I would be too. This is pretty cool. It is cute. Fine.
Of course, having to fork out for 11,000 of them would be a bit of a different matter. It's a good job they were designed to last the lifetime of the experiment and would only need to be purchased once, right?
Yes, right.
Anyway,
right.
With all the foreshadowing in place and a good picture of the physical configuration of the detector, we're finally ready to skip forward to the day of the disaster.
Disaster time. The incident. This is really bad.
Everything in this chapter and the next is taken from the official report published on the University of Tokyo website. Now, I do actually suspect there may be newer material in Japanese-only sections. I've not been able to find anything. If any Japanese-speaking viewers want to add anything in the comments, do go ahead and I'll pin a comment with any additions. Anyway, on the 12th of November 2001, the tank of the detector was being refilled following an extended period of maintenance. The water level had reached about 75% of the height of the tank, and the detector was outputting data as normal.
I don't know why I thought these diagrams would be in English, but this is so strange to see all the engineering writings done in Japanese. This is the first time I've seen like another language's engineering schematics. This is cool.
Suddenly, at 11 a.m., two staff on site felt violent shaking and a roaring sound which lasted for about 10 seconds. Air was felt rushing through the facility, and a seismometer 8.8 kilometers from the site recorded a seismic event lasting for about 5 seconds.
Basically, in other words, there was a boom. There were two people deep underground and they felt the whole facility shake and a boom registered. And they were like, what? Uh-oh.
The on-site staff immediately shut down power to the photo multipliers and checked the tank for leaks, of which none were found.
Pretty good.
Two staff descended to the water surface and discovered many of the visible photo multipliers below the water surface were broken. A few hours later, a camera was lowered into the tank, and following full surveys, it was discovered, I imagine with absolute dismay, that virtually all of the photo multiplier tubes below the surface were broken. 6,665 in total.
Oh my god, look at this damage report. Remember, each one of these is $5,000 in 2001. Oop. So literally, they heard an explosion, and every single one of the photo multiplier tubes underneath the water exploded. Pretty much all of them. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, you can look at this schematic. It looks bad. It is bad.
Out of the 11,146 installed in the detector, that's nearly $7 million in tubes destroyed in less than 10 seconds.
I neglected to mention earlier, but there's also an outer detector with 1,885 20-centimeter tubes on the outer wall of the tank. 881 of those
are
were
also destroyed.
Damaged in this incident.
Nice. Again, I stress no one was hurt. And I don't think a large number of people really suffered any lasting reputational harm due to this incident.
That's good.
But what on earth happened? Let's find out.
This is also, it's very rare for a disaster of this scale to occur without a loss of life or a loss of reputation for someone. But you will feel bad for the Japanese engineers when you learn why it exploded. Like, it genuinely could not have been predicted. I would have never guessed this.
What on earth happened? Let's find out. As part of the maintenance works when the tank was empty.
Also, I just realized, imagine the cleanup. Holy crap. You'd have to drain the tank and then pick up glass pieces everywhere. Oh my goodness. Could you imagine all the broken glass in the bottom of that tank? Holy, the cleanup must have been awful. Oh god. Oh god, I don't even want to think about that. Okay.
Styrofoam boards were placed directly on top of the photo multipliers on the floor of the facility. Staff were able to walk on these boards, which would distribute the load and theoretically prevent damage to the tubes. However, in hindsight, it's theorized that the repeated movements of staff may have caused fatigue stress in some of the tubes, weakening them. This led to one tube in particular, tube 10,810, near the edge of the detector, experiencing a reduction in its failure stress to below that of the hydrostatic pressure of the water above it.
Oh, my head is in the way. They know the exact location of the one that failed. So because they had these foam pads and it like weakened the photo multiplier tubes over time, one of them is just a little bit weaker and it couldn't handle the water pressure anymore.
Now, that single tube failing in isolation wouldn't be a huge deal. There were more than 11,000 of the things present in the detector. But it didn't fail in isolation. Let's talk about underwater implosions, something which I suddenly seem to be becoming an expert in since I've started this channel.
Oh, Ocean Gate.
A quick interjection here.
Ocean Gate. Anyway.
These animations are highly simplified, but communicate the general idea. I'm going to show collapsing vacuum bubbles apparently rebounding. That may seem unintuitive, but it does actually happen. Search for videos of cavitation bubbles if you want to see some examples.
This guy is so technical with his explanation. I'm glad that he's going this deep, but I think the average viewer does not understand.
Dynamics are highly complex, though, and not relevant for this video. In fact, the rebound effect is not even relevant here. I'd just anticipate a lot of comments about it.
Oh,
a vacuum tube.
He's bringing it up because he doesn't want people to actually him. That's really funny. Okay, this is something that I deal with a lot with science content creation. Every single time you put any sort of scientific literature out there will be someone who armchair actuallys you. If you simplify something because it's not important to the context of whatever you're saying, someone will be like, you didn't consider this thing. He's trying to get ahead of it. How foolhardy. He will soon learn, if he hasn't already, that someone will always come up with an excuse.
Imploding underwater is a particularly violent scenario. Let's imagine one imploding in air first. As the outer envelope fails, air rushes in to fill the gap, but is compressed as it does so. Eventually there'll come a point where the compressive force is too great and the air rebounds outwards, forming a shockwave. Hamamatsu even drop tested their tubes to ensure this shockwave wouldn't send glass shards flying out of the packaging if one was damaged during transit. But the point to note here is that air is highly compressible, which means the shockwave is not only spread out over time as the air is compressed and recovers, but also its energy is dissipated as it travels through the air. Now picture the same scenario, but with water as the work.
So basically what they're showing here is they're showing that when something breaks and shatters on the air can absorb it. It's cushioned enough. Because it's highly compressible, the air can handle it. But if you have something that breaks underwater,
fluid, the water rushes in to fill the gap, but water is much, much less compressible than air. In the case of the Super Kamiokande, water at about 4 atmospheres of pressure rushed in from all sides and then rapidly, essentially slams into itself. With little compressibility to absorb all that energy, the shockwave is going to be much more brief. But
basically, what's happening here is because it implodes underwater and no one considered the implosion underwater, you get a huge spike of pressure. And what you end up happening,
design stress of the 8 tubes around it, causing those to implode,
is that you get a cascade failure. You get one explosion,
and then they triggered all of their adjacent tubes to implode.
This repeated in a cascade until there were barely any tubes underwater left.
The whole
from
process
a single
took
failure.
less than 10 seconds and only terminated when the shockwaves were disrupted by the air-water interface.
That's crazy. It was one tube exploded, and the water implosion caused all the nearby tubes to explode, and it just went all the way up. Each one $5,000 a pop. and no one predicted it because they had assumed they'd done an explosion test up in the air and they didn't assume the water explosion could be handled. Yeah, tragic, right?
Now, the first question most people will be asking is, was a Cascade failure anticipated? And the answer is yes. Back in 1981, before the photomultipliers were installed in the original Kamiokande, 6 were submerged in 1 meter of water and 1 was deliberately shattered.
Could you believe that? They already tested for this.
Surrounding 5 tubes did not shatter, so it was concluded a Cascade failure was not possible. Now, look at the locations of the smash detectors in Super Kamiokande. Note, the only ones below the waterline to survive were within 3 meters of the water surface.
So what they did here is they submerged some photo tubes. They put the tubes underwater and they smashed it to see if it would cause a cascade failure because this was something that they anticipated. Remember, these are top scientists around the world. They won a fucking Nobel Prize for this work, right? Like, they are trying to do what they're doing. It's too little water. The water-air interface helps negate it. So if you're close to the surface of the water, it actually won't destroy. It won't cause a cascade event. You need hundreds of feet of water above you in order to cause an issue. They didn't test it deep enough. Yeah.
The waterline to survive were within 3 meters of the water surface. Whether it was the reduced pressure or the presence of the air-water interface to disperse the shockwave, the disaster showed
Feels
that
bad,
a chain
right?
reaction would only be initiated below a depth of a few meters. Unfortunately, the design engineers missed this nuance and falsely believed they demonstrated a cascade failure was not possible as the water would not transmit enough energy between the tubes. The lesson here is when carrying out destructive testing, you need to carry it out in conditions as similar as possible to the actual use case.
Yep. Very
in
true.
keeping with me calling this a fairy tale disaster, the story does, in my opinion, have a happy ending. In fact, the story of Super Kamiokande is continuing to be written. Following the disaster, the surviving detectors were repositioned around the tank to allow for continued operation of the facility, albeit at a lower resolution than before. In 2006, replacement photomultipliers were fitted, and this restored the detector to its previous capacity. The tubes were also fitted with acrylic screens to break up a shockwave from an imploding tube and hopefully prevent a repeated cascade failure.
Yeah.
And the
So
Super
they have a little
Kamiokande
bit-
has operated.
They have a little bit of cushion between each of these. Inside each of these tubes, there's a little bit of cushioning. So it will hopefully prevent another failure.
ever since.
Yeah.
It
Also, this photo is so
detects
cool.
about 30 neutrinos per day, which is far higher than I thought possible. Really fascinating stuff.
Look at it go.
It has a really, really nice website, which I thoroughly recommend visiting. You can
This
even
is
see live
so
data
dope.
from all of the 11,000 photomultipliers.
Live data? No.
In 2015, physicist Takaaki Kajita was awarded the Nobel Prize for his work at Super Kamiokande.
Hold on. Initial report on failure. Failures from the report. Website. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna pull up the website. Can I see it? Is it working today? Gallery, virtual tour. Oh my god, I can visit. They have visitation. They have open days. Oh my goodness. Hello? Yo. And they have a 3D tour as well? Wait. Hold on. What? I'm shocked. Oh, they're letting me. Oh, this is so cool. And they're telling. There's a little description of all the systems, and I could just explore it. Chat, are we gonna? hey chat, you want to go on a date? Let's go down to underground in the mountain. Let's go to a mountain, look at a science experiment. You want to go down the this cave system with me and look at the photo multiplier tubes? Oh my. Oh my. And then we could go in. Is this inside? Is this inside? Is this inside? What the fuck is this? What the hell am I looking at? The watershed tank. Oh my. Okay, I need to set a day for this. I need to like there I'll literally spend oh my. They have the oh, it's in fucking Japanese. This is still really cool. Oh my, look at their photos. Look how proud they are. Look at them like posing with it. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. And then they have like there's more people posing with these. Aw. Oh, and this is talking about the supernova. This is the Nobel Prize winning supernova detection, I assume. I can't read Japanese, but I assume that's what's happening here. Huh. This is I'm kind of down. Okay. We're getting distracted, chat. I'll go back to the original video, but we'll do this one of these days. We will do it. Okay, I promise. I did not know that they had an entire virtual tour set up. Damn. Okay.
In discovering neutrino oscillations. As I understand, this demonstrated that neutrinos have mass.
All right, I couldn't remain ignorant on that. So the day before releasing this video, I did some reading, and it's worth taking a minute here to discuss it. Prior to the Super Kamiokande, the various mathematical models predicted that neutrinos should be able to change their flavor over time. This sounds absurd.
What does that even mean, by the way? What is flavor? Come on, the quantum properties
but
of it?
it's actually explained quite well on the Wikipedia page for neutrino oscillation. There are eigenvalues and connected springs as analogies for engineering-minded individuals. It's great. Anyway, that wouldn't be possible if they had zero mass. Anything with zero mass has to travel at the speed of light, and is therefore frozen in time. But the three flavors of neutrino all create different light signatures on the detectors. Remember?
Oh, I see. There are different subtypes. Okay. There are different subtypes of neutrinos, and each subtype of neutrino emits a different photon. And because as a neutrino goes through, you can detect different photons inside this big detector, you can prove that neutrinos do have mass. If they were massless, they'd all be the same type. Gotcha. Okay, that's cool.
Remember the atmospheric cascades caused by cosmic rays I mentioned earlier? Those cause a disproportionately high number of muon neutrinos to pass through the detector. So, by observing the relative number of signatures for each flavor over the course of a day, researchers were able to plot out a changing flux as these excess muon neutrinos changed to other flavors as the Earth, and therefore the atmosphere,
such a weird
rotated below the
field.
detector. Demonstrating that neutrinos change flavor means they experience time, and that demonstrates they must move slower than the speed of light, and that means they have mass. All that inferred from observing minuscule flashes of light.
That's cool. That's cool.
Not just me, right? That is absolutely astonishing.
The facility has been so successful that work is nearing completion on its successor, Hyper Kamiokande.
They want more resolution?
This is a scaled-up version of Super Kamiokande. 8.4 times the volume, and with 40,000 photo multiplier
They want another
tubes.
one?
That said,
why?
You can't change perfection.
Look at, they're making another one just to get higher resolution?
Hyper Kamiokande will use 50 centimeter tubes just as its predecessor did. Though I imagine engineers will have gone through great efforts to make sure a single tube failing won't knock out the entire experiment.
This is funny, just to see them do it.
Well, thank you very much for watching, and have a great 2025. I'll be back in February. See you soon.
That was a good video. I enjoyed that one. It's a very like chill
Simpler
explanation.
video.
It's like a chill explanation of the entire site. And they introduce me to this amazing gallery and site. The 3D virtual tour here is freaking crazy. Can I just, oh my gosh, can I go inside the dome? Can I just teleport inside the dome? Wait, how do I, oh, in this one. Can I go inside the control room? Do they have pictures of the inside? Maybe this one. Wait, maybe this one. I'm trying to get inside the, I want to see the photo tube room. Oh, they're not showing me the photo tube room. Oh, it's somewhere here. It's somewhere here. Anyway, oh my gosh, look at this control room though. Look at this control room. This is pretty cool. Oh, it's the picture we were looking at. Wait, chat. Look, it's the picture. It's the picture that he was showing in the video, and they have it up. That's cool. Okay. Oh, Meekin, hello. I hope you're doing well. Okay, let me link the site here. Let me link the site. Here's a 3D tour site. I will look at it myself, but I linked it just now for you. Also, Meekin, I do owe you a Peak collab. I've been really looking forward to it. I hope you're doing well. Oh my god, there's phone numbers. Ah, they're blurred. Fuck, they're blurred. Look at this. They have a Japanese song. Oh, this was taken in 2016, and they have the little. Someone translate this for me. Oh, I want to know what it says. I want to know what their calendars say. Oh, and they have a little particle physics board here. Chameleons' face. They're explaining the flavors of muons on here. Oh, they won their Nobel Prize in 2015, and they're flexing it. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. Okay, wait. There's image translation. Okay, wait. Hold on. I'm gonna take a screenshot and I'm gonna translate it. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna do it. Okay. Let me find translate this. Okay. And then I'll find another site. I'll say image translator. Translate text from images and photos online. All right. I'm just gonna try this one. Okay, let's see if it'll translate. Please translate for me. Okay. It's not translating. It's not translating my beautiful words. It's not working. God damn it. What about images? Maybe Google Translate will help. Okay, I'm gonna try this. Okay, hold on. Google Translate. Because I choose this path, believe and move on. Oh, that's cute. It's like, because I chose this path, just believe and move on. And and they have a little cute doggo. It's a motivational calendar. Ah. Oh man, I love this tour so much. I could go around and look at all their tiny things. They have like the little temperature stuff here. It's so cute. And they have like little server racks. They have their PC set up, their little tablets. Oh my gosh. Ooh. Oh my goodness. There's a bunch, and they're in English too, the descriptors. Another day. I'm getting too hyped for this. Getting too hyped. I want to do it. I want to do it later.